For the past couple of years, it feels like the only games that anyone gives a shit about are remakes. Resident Evil 2 remake, and now we have the Final Fantasy VII remake. Really? Remakes and reboots. This is the best you have to offer, huh? We really have entered the next stage of the decline of gaming as a whole. This endless rehashing of new content. Resident Evil 3 remake comes out. Soon. You're going to get Resident Evil 4 remake. I can pretty much guarantee you that Resident Evil 4 remake isn't going to be any better than the original. Like, if they change anything, it's going to be a step down for sure. Like, I could see them, like, changing the character models or something like that. But, like, you know, if they mess with the AI, the gameplay, the combat, like, the story, anything like that, they're going to mess it up. Just, ugh. And it's kind of phenomenal to see people continue to get excited about this. It's kind of interesting to see how something underwhelming, you know, like Resident Evil 3 remake, can sort of just be brushed aside and just forgotten. How something like Final Fantasy VII remake can come out, be a complete disaster, and have game journalists fall over themselves to defend it. We really are entering that point where new games are taking so long to make that people are going to hype. These game journalists are going to have to hype up. These companies are going to have to make remake after remake after remake, because it's been almost a decade since the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim came out. No sequel in sight. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013. No sequel in sight. Dragon's Dogma 2013. What even else is there? You know what I mean? Like Resident Evil 7, like that came out, when did that come out? Like 2017, right? It's been a while, right? And 7 didn't do as well as 6, right? Which was a disaster, you know? You know what I mean? Like, the new games that come out are going to get worse and worse, as they have been. Like, we've been getting the Anthems, the Mass Effect Andromedas, the Evolves, the Destinies, the Titanfalls, like all of these like terrible new games, right? And in order to pad out these releases, in order to stop people from realizing that Nintendo is the superior gaming platform, you're going to see more and more people become extensively reliant on these rehashes, remakes, and reboots. It's going to get especially bad when they start remaking the remakes, which I think is something that's going to happen within the decade. Probably with one of these games that has been remade already, like probably Resident Evil 1 remake. Like imagine modern Capcom remaking that without Shinji Mikame's guidance. It's not going to go well. It's going to go about as well as like Resident Evil 3 remake did, right? A complete disaster. If the game isn't literally one of the most beloved IPs of all time, like it's not going to do well, right? The remake is not going to do well. That's one of the reasons I'm so fired up. I'm so interested in this situation in which a bunch of Sony fanboys have gotten together to try and push Capcom to remake Dino Crisis, or Square Enix to remake Xenogears, or any of these other obscure PlayStation titles that nobody cares about. These titles are too obscure for remakes to be successful, right? Link's Awakening is one of the best games of all time. You know, well regarded as such, one of the best Zelda games ever made, one of my favorite games of all time. You know, it sold about 4 million units at launch. It's probably sold a lot more than that, and it deserved it. It's a great game, but it's a beloved game. It's a well-known game. It's something that people know and enjoy and love. Nobody's going to get fired up about a Dino Crisis remake. Nobody's going to get fired up about a Xenogears remake. Like, Namco Bandai came out and said that, like, a Xenosaga HD trilogy is not feasible because there is not enough interest, even for a port. Like, let alone a straight-up remake. Like, unless all they can do, all these remakes can do, is just remake these super popular games of yesteryear. Like, I'm expecting a Metal Gear Solid remake at some point, maybe a Silent Hill one. They'll try every trick in the book. They're gonna try to bring out every franchise imaginable, every spin-off title. Like, they're going to it's going to work for the big mainstream titles that everyone knows, Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy 7, but the lesser-known titles, like, I would go so far as to say, like, a remake of 8, Final Fantasy 8 would not do well. You know what I mean? Especially since people are so angry about what they've done with Final Fantasy 7R. Well, I feel as if Final Fantasy 7R didn't do well to begin with, considering how long it took to make, how it's episodic, how so many people are pissed. We're in that age, we're in that era where we're reaching the point where we can't deny this anymore. Like, gaming has declined. Like, we are straight up, if you're a PlayStation or an Xbox fan, you shouldn't be, you're a pleb, but if you are a PlayStation or an Xbox fan, all you can look forward to are ports and remasters of old games, right? And terrible AAA games that nobody likes. Like The Last of Us Part 2. I'm sure all of you are looking forward to that after the live stream. The leaks that came out. I am just straight up baffled at just the sheer refusal among the gaming community to admit that, like, gaming has gotten worse. And these remakes, these reboots, they are just another factor into that. They cannot continue to survive. Third parties cannot continue to survive by only living off of old content. They are only existing off of blind nostalgia.